Alright, we're on 1 Samuel and chapter 20. And David fled from Naioth in Ramah, and came and said before Jonathan, What have I done? What is my iniquity? What is my sin before thy father, that he seeketh my life? And he said unto him, God forbid, thou shalt not die. Behold, my father will do nothing, either great or small, but that he will show it me. And why should my father hide this thing from me? It is not so. And David swore moreover, and said, Thy father continually knoweth that I have found grace in thine eyes. And he saith, Let not Jonathan know this, lest he be grieved. But truly, as the Lord liveth, and as the soul liveth, there is but a step between me and death. And Then Jonathan said unto David, Whatsoever thy soul desireth, I will even do it for thee. And David said unto Jonathan, Behold, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king at meat. But let me go, that I may hide myself in the field until the third day at evening. Alright, now David and Jonathan know that it's the new moon. So this was a great feast for them. Alright, number 6. If thy father at all miss me, then said David earnestly, Ask leave of me, that he might run to Bethlehem, his city, for there is an early sacrifice there for all the families. If he say thus, It is well, thy servant shall have peace. But if he be very wroth, then be sure that evil determined by him. Therefore thou shalt deal kindly with thy servant, for thou hast brought thy servant into the covenant of the Lord with thee, notwithstanding. If there be in me iniquity, slay me thyself, for why shouldest thou bring me to thy father? And Jonathan said, Fear be it from me, for I know certainly that evil were determined by my father to come upon thee. Then would not I tell thee? Then said David to Jonathan, Who shall tell me, or what, if thy father answer thee roughly? And Jonathan said unto David, Come and let us go out to the field. And they went out, both of them, into the field. And Jonathan said unto David, O Lord God of Israel, when I have sounded my father about tomorrow at any time, or the third day, and behold, if there be a good towards David, and I then send not to thee to show thee, and the Lord do so, and much more to Jonathan, and if it be pleased my father to do thee evil, then I will show it thee, and send thee away, that thou mayest go in peace, and the Lord be with thee, as he hath seen with my father. And thou shalt not only, while yet I live, show me the kindness of the Lord, that I die not. But also thou shalt not cut off the kindness from my house forever. No, not when the Lord had cut off the enemies of David, every one from the face of the earth. So Jonathan made a covenant with David. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying that the Lord even required at the hand of David's enemies. And Jonathan caused David to swear again, because he loved him, for he loved him as he loved his own soul. In other words, they were really close friends. Then Jonathan said to David, Tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty. And when thou hast stayed 3 days, And thou shalt go down quickly, and came to the place where thou didst hide thyself when the business was in hand, and shalt remain by the stove. Let's see, Eziel, Eziel. And I will shoot 3 arrows on the side thereof, as though I shot at a mark. And behold, I will send a lad, saying, Go find out with the arrows. If I express, saying, Go, lad, behold, the arrows are on this side of thee, take them. Then come thou, for there is peace to thee, and no hurt, as the Lord liveth. But if I say thus unto the young man, Behold, the arrows are behind thee, go thy way, for the Lord hath sent thee away. And as touching the matter which thou and I have spoken of, behold, the Lord between thee and me forever. So David hid himself in the field. And when the new moon was come, the king sat him down and ate meat. And the king sat upon his seat, as at the other times, even upon the seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spoke not anything that day, for he thought, Something hath befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. In other words, he didn't feel right around his father. But it came to pass on the morrow, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David placed an empty. And Saul said unto Jonathan his son, Wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to me, neither yesterday nor today? And Jonathan answered Saul, David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem. And he said, Let me go, I pray thee, for our family hath a sacrifice in the city. And my brother, and he hath commanded me to be there. And now, if I have found favor in thy eyes, let me get away, I pray thee, and see my brother. Wherefore he commandeth not unto the king's table. And then Saul answered, was kindled against Jonathan, and he said unto him, Thou son of the perverse rebellion woman, do not I know that thou hast chosen the son of Jesse to thine own confusion, and to thy confusion of thy mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Jesse liveth upon the ground, thou shalt not esteem nor thy kingdom. Wherefore now send and fetch him unto me, for he shall surely die. And Jonathan answered Saul his father, and said unto him, Wherefore shall he be slain? What hath he done? And Saul cast a javelin at him to smote him, whereby Jonathan knew that it was determined of his father to slay David. He tried to kill his own son. My goodness, how bad. He had so much hatred for him. So Jonathan arose from the table in furious anger, and did eat no meat the 2nd day of the month, for he had grieved for David, because his father had done him shame. And it came to pass in the morning that Jonathan went out into the field at the time appointed with David, and a little lad with him. And he said unto his lad, Run, find out now the arrows which I shot. And as the lad ran, the shot was an arrow beyond him. And when the lad was come to the place of the arrow Jonathan had shot, Jonathan cried after the lad, and said, Is not the arrow beyond thee? In other words, he was telling David, Run for your life. And Jonathan cried after the lad, make speed, haste, stay not. And Jonathan had gathered up the arrows and came to his master. And the lad knew not anything, only Jonathan and David knew the matter. And Jonathan gave his artillery unto his lad, and said unto him, Go, carry them to the city. And as soon as the lad was gone, David arose out of the place forward the south, and fell on his face to the ground, and bowed himself 3 times. And they kissed one another, and wept one with another, until David excitedly. Anyway, they were saying their goodbyes. And Jonathan said to David, Go in peace, for as we have sworn, both of us, in the name of the Lord, saying, The Lord be between me and thee, and between thy seed and thy seed forever. And he arose and departed, and Jonathan went into the city. Okay, we're on chapter 21. Then came David to Nob, to Ahimethlosh, the priest, at the meeting of David, and said unto him, Why art thou alone, and no man with thee? And David said unto, I'm just going to call him, the priest, The king hath commanded me a business, and hath said unto me, Let no man know anything of the business whereabout I send thee, and what have I commanded thee. And I have appointed my servant in such a place. Now therefore, what is under thine hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread in my hand, or what there is present. And the priest answered David and said, There is no common bread under my hand, but there is hollow bread. If the young men have kept themselves at least from women. In other words, as long as your man has not had any sex with any women, it'll be fine to eat it. And David answered the priest and said unto him, Of the truth, woman, have been kept from us about 3 days since I came out, and the victuals of the young men were holy. The bread is in the manner common, yea, though it were sacrificed this day in the vessels. So the priest gave him hollowed bread, for there was no bread there but the showbread, that it was taken from before the Lord, to put hot bread in the day when it was taken away. Now a certain man of the servant of Saul was there that day, detained before the Lord, and his name was Doegi, and Edomite, and a shethest of the herdmen that belonged to Saul. And David said unto Ahimelech, And is there not here under my hand a spear or sword? For I have either brought my sword nor my weapons with me, because the king's business required haste. And the priest said, The sword of Goliath, the Philistine, whom thou slewest in the valley of Elah, behold, it is here wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod. If thou wont take it, for there is no other save that here. David said, There is none like it, give it me. And David arose and fled that day for fear of Saul, and went to Achon, the king of Gath. And the servant of Achim said unto him, Is not this David the king of the land? Did they not sing one to another of him, and dance, saying, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000? And David laid up those words in his heart, and was sore afraid of Ashcroft the king of Gath. And he charged his behavior before him, and fringed himself mad in their hands, and scrambled on the door of the gate, and let the spittle fell down upon his head, upon his beard. Then said Gad Achash unto his servant, Lo, ye see the man is mad. Wherefore, when have ye brought him to me? Have I need of a madman, that ye have brought this fellow to play the madman in my presence? Shall he fellow come unto my house? Alright, I'm going to try to read 22. David therefore departed thence, and escaped to the cave Adullam. And when his brother and all his father's house heard it, they went down thither to him. And every one that was in distress, and every one that was in doubt, and every one that was disconnected, gathered themselves unto him, and he became captain over them. And there were with him about 400 men. And David went thence to Mizpah of Moab, and he said unto the king of Moab, Let my father and my mother, I pray thee, come forth and be with you, till I know what God will do for me. And he brought them before the king of Moab, and they dealt with him all the while that David was in the hold. And the prophet Gad said unto David, Abide not in the hold, depart, get thee into the land of Judah. Then David departed and came into the forest of Haroth. When Saul heard that David was discovered, and the men that were with him, now Saul abide in Gibeah under a tree in Ramah, having his spear in his hand, and all his servants were standing about him. And Saul said unto his servant that stood about him, Hear now, ye Benjamites, will the son of Jesse give every one of you a field and a vineyard, and make you all captains of thousands, and captains of hundreds? That all of you have conspired against me, and there is none that showeth me that my son have made a league with the son of Jesse, that there is none of you that is sorry for me, or showeth unto me that my son hath stirred up my servant again against me, to lie in wait, as at this day. Then answered Doeg the Edomite, which was set over the servant of Saul, and said, I saw the son of Jesse coming to Moab, to Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub, and he required of the Lord for him, and gave him victuals, and gave him the sword of Goliath the Philistine. Then the king sent to call Ahimelech the priest, the son of Ahitub, and all his father's house, and the priests that were in the Moab, and they came all of them to king. And Saul said, Hear now, thou son of Ahitub. And he answered, Here I am, my lord. Alright, he can't be, he's calling a man a lord, and really he's really not a lord. And Saul said unto him, Why have you conspired against me, that the son of Jesse, in that thou hast given him bread and a sword, and hast inquired of God for him, that he should rise against me, and lie in wait as all this day? Then Ahimelech and answered the king and said, And who is so faithful among all the servants of David, which is the king's son-in-law, and goeth at thy bidding, and in honorable in thine house. He's saying, who's more honorable than David is in your house? Nobody is more honorable than David. Alright. Did I then begin to inquire of God for him? Be it far from me. Let not the king impute anything unto the servant, nor to all the house of my father. For thy servant know nothing of all this, less or more. I know nothing about what you and David's got going. He can only go by what David said. Alright. And the king said, Thou shalt surely die, Ahimelech, thou and all thy father's house. And the king said unto the footmen that stood about him, Turn and slay the priest of the Lord, because their hands also is with David, and because thou knew when he fled, and did not show it to me. And the servant of the king would not put forth their hands to fall upon the priest of the Lord. Well, that's good that they didn't kill him. Okay, and the king said to Doegi, Turn now and fall upon the priest. And Doegi the Ishmaelite turned, and he fell upon the priest. Ooh, that's not good. And slew all that day 75 persons that wore a linen ephod. Ooh, God's going to be really mad at Saul now. And this other character too. And Noab, the city of the priest, smote he with the edge of the sword, both men and women, children and suckling, and oxen and axes, and sheep with the edge of the sword. And one of the sons of Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub, named Berethar, escaped and fled with David. And Abiathar showed David what Saul had slain the Lord's priest. And David said unto Abiathar, I know it that day when Doeg the Ishmaelite was there, that he would surely tell Saul, I have occasioned the death of all the persons of my father's house. Abide thou with me. Fear not, for he that seeketh my life. But with me thou shalt be a safeguard. Alright, so he's going to take that one character in and kind of help him out and stay with him. Alrighty, we are be on 23 next time. So I will be on 23 next time tomorrow. Alright, thank you, whoever listens.